Well, as they say, we're back. And happy Thursday, everybody. It was a week off last week for all of us, but it's good to see everybody. Good to be with everybody. Elevating You has returned officially. And Kraig, Mike, and Jill. And Jill, by the way, technologically challenged today, has overcome all obstacles and is on her phone, which is beyond impressive because I know for a fact that if this had happened to me, I'm not on the show today. I just wouldn't be here. That's just the way it would be. So congratulations to Jill. How you doing, Jill?
I'm good. I was, you know what, yesterday I actually went to New York for the day. It's the first time I was back in the city since February 12th of last year. So, and yesterday happened to be the first day in New York that it wasn't mandated to be wearing a mask outside. So, it was great to walk around the city. Mask free. It was a beautiful day. The buzz was there. Like it just felt like things are starting to get a little bit back to normal. So that was really good. Other than that, just doing my thing.
There you go. Mike, how you doing, man?
I love it. Doing great. Just beautiful weather down here in Charlotte these days. And again, like Jill was saying, it's just kind of a little bizarre. Over the weekend, was downtown in Charlotte and was blown away by just everything sort of opening up, and again, people just mingling and mixing, and just a really good vibe and energy of people being like together and enjoying. I think more appreciating the opportunity to be together in that kind of setting and not have to worry about the masks and all that. But I actually got my my second shot yesterday, so I'm just about there for being fully, but it's good.
Did you get the Pfizer shot? Let's just go through this real quick. Okay, so what time did you get the shot yesterday?
I got it at 9:30.
And 9:30 a.m. Obviously.
AM.
So today at about 3, you might want to, if you haven't started taking Tylenol or Advil, I'd be on that already. And at about 3 o'clock today, we'll see what happens. That's about the time that it hit me, and I was out of commission, tired, and the whole bit for about the next 24 hours.
Well, Kraig, I'll definitely do that, but I got to tell you, it was bizarre. I woke up this morning at 3. It's really weird you said that. I was 3 in the morning with an absolutely pounding headache, body aches, chills. I mean, I just wanted to die.
Okay.
I couldn't even get out of bed. I don't even want to move right now. And my alarm went off at 5. I threw myself out of bed, grabbed 3 Advil, went back to bed, woke up at 7, and I feel great right now. I feel great.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you're feeling better. That's what hit me. Mine was at about 11 a.m. And so it took a while, and then all of a sudden, about 6 o'clock at night, I did not feel good at all. I had all the stuff that you're talking about, and I struggled the next day. So anyway, it sounds like the timing's about right. All right.
Yeah. And listen, man, I struggle every day. So it's like vaccination or
join
not.
The club on that. Join the club. Sorry to everybody out there that we didn't have a show last week. I was flying from Orlando to St. Louis, packing my son's stuff with him in a truck that we rented to drive to North Chicago to move him into his new place for PA school and get that all squared away. Drove back from North Chicago to St. Louis, switched cars with my daughter, took the rental car back, hopped in her car, and we drove from St. Louis to Nashville that night. So it was a little Chicago, St. Louis, Nashville in one day, and then Nashville, Orlando. So back-to-back 11, 12-hour days in the car. Wow. And then a graduation. So it just wasn't feasible to elevate you this week. That was the problem.
You were trying to elevate yourself. You needed everything you had to do that, right?
I'm telling you, when you start loading couches and mattresses into trucks at my age, you either feel like you're really old, or you're like, wow, I got some energy and I'm young, but it wrecks you for about 30 days afterwards. So anyway, it's good to be back with everybody, and I want to do a little bit of a recap of what we talked about the last go around, and also a reminder to everybody out there that we love the questions and we love the comments, so you can share them right here. And as we've talked about before, starting to get some emails as well. Mike always is in charge of live responses, so he takes care of that for us. And and then we'll go through our topics in just a bit. I think you're going to like what we're going to talk about today, but I do want to revisit what we discussed last time, which was the balancing act, which is exactly what I feel like we've all been doing for the last week, trying to figure out how we were going to do all this stuff. How much to the company and how much to you? That's what we were going through. So a real quick refresher on that. And I'll let each person share the one thing, that they were trying to get across to us. And Mike's was how not to lose you in your job was kind of where you wanted to go with people. So if you'd like to, give people a little bit of a refresher as to where we were, that would be great.
Absolutely. And I would say in this case here, it was really about how often we find ourselves on the hamster wheel at work of just do, go, go, go. And it's easy to get into this rhythm of just doing versus being. And there's power in doing for sure, but you bring more to your work, your colleagues, your customers when you're being yourself. So the idea here is don't lose yourself in the doing. Remind yourself that you've got to continue to show up and bring forward the gifts, the talents, the things that make you uniquely and beautifully and magnificently you.
There you go. Very well said. It's like you've done this before. So that was that was Mike. Mine was all talking about challenging for bigger. Now, the thing is, when we're working for our employer, it's very easy to get lost in all about them. And that makes sense. I mean, they're paying you to do the work for them. Okay. So you never want to lose sight of that. My whole topic was about within the framework of your day-to-day job, when you show up, what things can you do for the betterment of the organization? Okay, keep that in mind. That's what I'm focusing on here. For the betterment of the organization, what can you do that will also stretch and grow you? Taking on a big project with the organization or asking for more responsibility that will advance you in your own mind. I'm not suggesting you're doing this to add something to your resume or whatever, but the bottom line is that if in fact, hypothetically, you were being recruited for another position, could you share some of the things that you've been doing that actually give you more tools in the toolbox to help that potential next employer or make you more recruitable? Again, I'm not telling you to seek a job. I'm telling you to seek out opportunities within the current framework of your job that will actually grow you and take you to the next level so that you can help yourself and others along the way. That's where my whole focus was. And I remember that. And I do remember being challenged by, a few people about some of the things that I was doing within the organization in one of my jobs, which were on the guidelines of what I was being asked to do anyway. But they definitely helped me moving forward. They definitely helped me, and they helped a lot of other people as well. And a lot of what I was putting forward are things that I can use now in what I'm currently doing. So, help others and help yourself as well. So that's where I was going with that. And then Jill, yours was what's cooking is your side dish, and I think I know what that is.
Well, I mean, the whole idea is, it's great to have your job and be doing what you're supposed to be doing and looking for those opportunities, as you're saying. But I think it's also important to sort of also have interests outside of what you're doing. And are those things that could either help your current employment situation, or is that side dish something that could become the main course? So, it's important, I think, to not get lost in your job. As you were saying, Mike, it's important not to put yourself on autopilot and only go in and just do that one thing. You have to have more than that. I think that is fulfilling both professionally and personally. And when you're fulfilled personally, we all know, then professionally you're better too, and vice versa, really. So, it's important to have a little bit of a side hustle. It can be small, it can be big, it could be, a hobby, it could be something you want to turn into a business and you've been tinkering with it for a long time. I just think it's important to have that diversity.
So we're on a live stream right now, okay? And I just want to use the term stream to give everybody a little bit of a visual here. It took me a while in my career to figure this out. And I think it's important for everybody. I would tell this to college students, graduates, or people that are early on in their career. They get very focused on what their starting salary might be or whatever. And I think they're focusing on a little bit of the wrong thing. And I think this goes on for a while for people. When we're early in our career, I think we need to focus on opportunities and as many of them as we can get. And then we chase the dollars later. But I think it's really important to, as you move along in your job, to make sure that you are doing something within the framework of your career that is going to give you something later. It might be taking a class at night. It might be, joining an organization. It might be finding a way to write a blog. It might be finding a way to do some side speaking, whatever. And the reason I bring up stream is because later in life, having different financial streams of money that could potentially come into you really benefit you when we might go through something like a pandemic. Okay. If all of your financial eggs are in one basket and something happens, be it a furlough or whatever might happen, that can be very stressful. And so it is good to have different things. I'm not telling you to all of a sudden become an independent contractor. Okay. I'm just telling you, have some other things that are your fallback or a potential, I can go this way as well. And I think that's really important. Anybody want to jump in on that?
I would say that technology today has made it easier than ever to be able to do those things, Kraig. Whether it was with a blog, whether it's video, whether it's things on YouTube, whatever that might be. And the opportunity to either make it independent of what you're doing during the day, we can clearly do. Obviously, you want to make sure that it's not going to get you into some type of a rub, at the office. And I know I experienced that, unfortunately, where I had started a blog, and it had nothing to do with work, but it rubbed the people at work the wrong way, thinking that I was trying to go do something else. And I was like, gosh, that's not it at all. This is a passion point of mine, and I just want to share my thoughts with it. So I think you got to be careful too of that when you show up. And letting the right people know this is what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Good point. Jill, anything before we move forward?
No, I think I loved your point. I think it's really important. You have to have a plan B. And if getting ready with that plan B is, exploring those other things that you might be able to do on the side, it's a lot less stressful if something like a pandemic hits and you already have those things in place, as opposed to, oh my gosh, what do I do now?
Yeah, no, great point. I actually believe, and I've told my kids this, I think the pandemic, look, we've lost people, we've lost jobs, the loss is unbelievable and terrible. At the same time, there is some positive that can come from something like this. I think it's eye-opening, it's awakening. It gives you a sense of, okay, if this happens again, or if something like, what do I do? How do I protect myself? How do I grow? How do I add something to make myself not one of those people who is currently sitting on the sideline? I think that's really important to think about that. And those are the types of things that make us all freak out. But at the same time, okay, the number of challenges that we've all been through and the pivots that we've all had to make, I think there's some positive in that for all of us.
Well, I agree with you on that, Kraig. The one place that I will challenge it a bit, and maybe it's a challenge to us all, not challenging the point, is that human nature is that we typically will go through things like this, say we're going to look at life differently, we're going to live differently, and then in 6 to 8 months, we get back to where we were because we're creatures of habit, right? To me, that's part of like the survival mode. We've got to do that because as you were saying that, I was thinking you're absolutely right. And then there was 9/11 and people said the same things. And then there was the market crash in 2006, 7, 8, and a lot of people were hurt. And now there's this. And like, I was thinking for myself, I'm like, yes, 2001, I'm going to live differently, be different. A year later, I'm back doing the same things I was doing before, because things are back to normal. the market crash. I'm going to save and I'm going to be doing things differently. A year later, I'm doing things the way I was before, right? So I think the challenge on this is, can we take those milestones, right? Especially this one here now, and say, so how will I choose to be living now more intentionally? How am I going to step back and really examine what I'm doing, how I'm doing, where I'm doing it, to make a difference, to live differently, whatever it may be. I just would encourage us to think of that, because there'll be another crisis down the line. It's not a question of if, it's just when. So just a thought on that.
No, it's good. It's good. Really good. I do think we have a fallback, and I'm not talking about a fallback plan. I think we fall back at times, and we get into a rut. So
it's just human nature. Yeah.
Point well taken. Here's the topic today. I teased us with it because I had put it up there ready to rock, and then Mike dropped that incredible knowledge on us right there, and and we segued off of it. But this is the topic, and Mike, I'm giving you credit for this one as well, because this is a good one. Power starting your day, and the subtopic is wake up with what? What exactly are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Now, just to give everybody a sense of where we're going to go with this today, and please share your comments along. Mike will share some of them and we'll talk about it. But power starting your day. We're each going to have a big thought, which we always do. And then each of us has a couple of things that we're going to give you for ideas that you can do or use to potentially get off to a good start each and every day with your work. So with that, power starting your day, wake up with what? I'm going to let Mike kick it off with his big thought, his big idea on this topic. Go wherever you want to go, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it's a huge idea as much as it's just reinforcing the fact that for me personally, there is no more important time of the day in the day than the morning. Right. That is, and it sounds cliche. That's where it all starts. That's how we get our programs. Now, if you aren't really thinking about how you're starting your day intentionally, the rituals, the things that you're doing, your mindset, how you're going to approach it, and I'll get into more of those ideas when we get into the next part of the conversation. So, then we're going to just be haphazardly going through the day. I use that word intentional. Right? How are we intentionally choosing to show up and operate for the day? What impact can we make?
Yeah, no, that's good. In case everybody can't figure this out, we've temporarily lost Jill. So Mike, while I go on to my big thought, maybe you text her, tell her what's going on, and and we'll go from there. I think you're definitely right. And my big thought on this whole topic is simply time. Time spent, time in thought, time in prayer, time in whatever it might be. I think it's super important for all of us to figure out exactly what we need to do, right? Jump starting our day doesn't necessarily have to start at the beginning of the day. It doesn't. It can start somewhere else. It can start with, some thoughts the night before. And I'll get into that in just a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I like that.
I think it's really important to have clear focus, clear ideas. How many times do we end the day and go, boy, I really didn't accomplish much today. I really didn't get a whole lot going today. Today was not my best day. It was not the best of myself. I didn't get anything done. And I felt, kind of stuck. All those things can be very difficult. So I think it's important when we're talking about power starting, it's getting some power within you to go, I'm going to do something great today. I'm going to do something great for other people. I'm going to do something great for myself. So all of those things come to my mind, but I think it's important that we attack our job, that we attack our day with some energy and some emotion and some passion to help other people and do good things ourselves. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I again, man, I love the idea of actually starting the night before, right? But as well, that end of the day part is an interesting one, because we can easily focus on, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done. Yet yesterday I could have had one of those days as well. So the easy, like, relatable part to this, right? Are you on Clubhouse, Kraig?
I am.
Okay.
Now I admit is when that first started, and we should talk about that sometime. When that first started, I had people saying, you got to jump in on this now. Now's the best time. All that. I haven't done anything with it. So I don't know exactly what I'm missing. Part of me is like, I only have time for so many of these types of things, right? And
there's only so much of Kraig to go around,
no,
man.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Where were you going with that?
here's the thing. So I started the club on there a little while back called Life Ignited, and it's just about celebrating the best of us and the best in us, and how we can come together to really live life ignited. Quite honestly, and it's a different way of living, an intentional way of living, and I had been looking at this button that says start the room for the past like 3 weeks, and I was so nervous about hitting the green button to start the room. And yesterday afternoon, I decided I was going to hit the green button. And, I did that. We had a couple people pop on, which was great. Had a really good discussion for about a half hour.
So look, can I interrupt you for a quick second? Why don't you share with people what Clubhouse is? Because I bet a lot of people that are watching, not everybody knows what it even is. Okay.
Right,
so let's go backwards real quick and give them that.
So basically it's another social media platform and channel where people can hop on, but it's audio, real-time audio. So you're getting people, you're hearing conversations. You've got global leaders, celebrities, athletes on here. You have the opportunity to hop into a club, a club room of your interest and listen in real time to what's going on. And then you have a chance to raise your hand, and they can bring you up, and then you can ask the question of the people, and these are thought leaders. These are just amazing voices out there where you get this, immediate interaction. So anyhow, it's a very cool platform if you like the audio version of it and the real-time nature as well. Yeah. So, but cool. It's the kind of thing where, like anything else that's new, you got to figure it out. And the only way to try to figure it out is to freaking do it, and that's why I decided yesterday, hit the green button and let's figure this out and see how it works. There's only one way to start it. So yesterday was not like the most, I was talking to my wife at the end of the day, and she said, how was your day? I said, actually, I'm going to celebrate doing something that I was really scared to do. Instead of worrying about, here are the things I got done, here are the accomplishments, or things or like you said, what I didn't get done. Yeah. I wanted to just celebrate a little bit of, I stepped through fear for a second. And, I think we should all look at that in our day.
Yeah. And we welcome Jill back.
Hey, Jill.
Oh my gosh, you guys, the heck. Technology is not my friend this morning, but I'm back on my computer, so hopefully that's a little bit better. But my Chrome browser was not allowing access to my microphone and camera, but now Safari is, so we'll take it.
Well, believe me, right now, what I would like to do is, and I can't do it in the middle of a live stream, but I've had my computer unhooked for a better part of 4 days. And when I get back, I always want to make sure that I'm not on Wi-Fi and that I'm actually on Ethernet. And I didn't do that this morning. So, but I can't switch that now. So I know we're all up, and here we go. We're continuing where we go. And whatever happens today will happen today. And it is what it is. So
it's how we're starting our day, right?
Oh, that's all right. You said power start our day, and all of a sudden our internet is not powered. I don't know what's going on, but nonetheless, that's it. Okay. So I've shared my big thought. Just to refresh, so we can help Jill out here. The topic today: power starting your day and waking up with what? So your timing is impeccable, because Mike and I have already shared our big thoughts while you were doing that, and we'll go ahead and let you share your thought right now on waking up with what exactly to help you have your best day.
Well, and I hope that I'm not completely repetitive, because I couldn't hear what you guys were saying as I was dealing with all of this. But for me, the mindset that you put forward when you first wake up in the morning really is going to dictate how the rest of the day goes. Just at least that's how it works for me. There are plenty of, when I was working at QVC, there were plenty of mornings where, I was on the air till 2 a.m, and then I had to get up at 6:30 because I wanted to be with the kids before they went to school. And oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. And that thought right there made it difficult, made me sluggish, made it hard to get going throughout the day. Instead of, all right, I might be a little bit tired, but this is my opportunity to spend time with my kids this morning because I didn't see them even before dinner yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me take this moment and just sort of be glad for where I am. And then once that's good, like then it's like for me anyway, that energy and that positivity start going.
Yeah.
So I listen, I am not by nature a little Miss Mary Sunshine kind of person, frankly. Um, um, but I have worked really hard at that in my adult life because I really have found for me the difference in motivation, the difference in production, the difference in relationships is incredible if I start my day thinking with those positive thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think it's one thing to talk about positive thoughts. It's another thing to take positive thoughts and turn them into energy and accomplishment. I mean, we can all sit here and go, I'm going to be better today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I got to wake up. I'm going to do some private time, and I'm going to think, and I'm going to, focus my energy, meditation, whatever it might be. But at the end of it, where are you going to go with all that, right? And it's one thing to tell people, I get up in the morning and I do this. All right, routines I think are really important, and I think it is a good thing. Go to the gym, right? I mean, get your body going. Many a times I've woken up at 5 or 5:36, and I can't really go back to sleep. So you know what? I'm off to the gym. I'm going to go swim 25 lengths, or I'm going to go, hop on the treadmill for whatever time, just to get things going. And I feel better. I get back and I'm ready to go. I've got something going. So
there is, and we all know this, there is science behind the physiology and the emotion, right? That a body in movement, and how, the endorphins kick out, and the chemical reactions happen, the things that kick in from an active body then influence our mental approach and our mental state, and how we're approaching things from an emotional level, the outlook of our day versus being sedentary. Which is why we say, if you're in a place where you aren't feeling good, healthy, or what have you, mentally, emotionally, is the first thing that any physician or professional would say is get up and move.
Yeah.
Just get the blood flow. Get up, breathe.
Yeah.
Do some breathing exercises. I mean, there are a lot of things that we can do just in a moment. That doesn't mean Kraig hopping in his Speedo to go, swim 25 lengths. All right. Now try to wash that image out of your mind at 9:28 in the morning. But the point is you don't have to do that. You could be doing things in your office. You could go outside for a second and just get a breath of fresh air. But it's so important, Kraig. You're right.
Yeah. By the way, that's the long Michael Phelps type. And not that I swim like Michael Phelps, but it's the long.
Too much information.
Is it really?
Aren't you glad you came back, Jill? All right. So anyway, with that, let's move on from Jill's big thought to everybody had some ideas. Now, Jill's going to get to go first here, and two things that are actually going to be able to help people to kind of move forward with some power thoughts. And notice the image here, the bright idea. You go where you want to go, Jill, on this, but here's your two things that you wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah. So, pick up those ideas. For me, that is, I think we are all juggling so many things, and I feel like everybody has balls that drop. So I feel like it's important when I get started on my day, I like to just take some time and say, all right, so what did I drop, and what do I need to pick up and complete? Like if I finally wrap things up late at night on a Tuesday, on Wednesday, I want to make sure, all right, did I miss anything? Are we good to go? So it's just picking up those pieces really of things that you may have dropped, calls you didn't get to, meetings you didn't follow up on, emails, get that done and get it off your plate. Because if you don't, then you have this constant sort of weight that's over you as you're starting your day with everything else that needs to be done that day. So that's how I've started to work, as I try to really start my day completing tasks, because then I really feel like it's like making your bed, right? Like I started my day and I did something that got me on the right track. And then for the second one, like I really feel that it's important. And what I've learned is to sort of look at all of the things that you have to do and batch them together. So if that's looking at a day or looking at your week, maybe there's a certain time. Tuesdays and Thursdays are your days where you're going to spend 2 hours reaching out and making connections. Maybe it's on Wednesdays. Wednesdays is your day where your nose is to the grindstone, and that's really like your really deep dive into whatever project you're working on or seminar you're preparing, whatever it might be. But by batching those tasks together, instead of having them sort of be like floating around everywhere all during the week, I really feel like you can be so much more productive, and it teaches that you have a schedule. And I share that because as somebody who really struggles with that, I mean, I've shared with you guys, like I have been diagnosed with ADD as an adult. And I was very high functioning with it, but it has caused problems for me in staying on track and getting everything done. And I think I can remember everything, and I really can't. And by batching things for me, it really has taught me that this is the time I do this, and that's when I do it. And guess what? It all gets done. Yeah. So I really have become a huge fan of batching things that way. And it's nice because it can be flexible to whatever your job or whatever your needs are, but it really seems to work.
Can I add one little thing to that? And I think that's brilliant. I'm so glad you brought it up. I'm going to use this analogy and tie this together a little bit. So moved into a new house last year. Okay. Heavy punch list, a lot of different items. Just like pretty much everybody when you move into a new house. And the important thing is not to have a subcontractor be there, if you can avoid this, every other day or have to come back multiple times. Let's use an electrician, for example. And let's say you have to get your ceiling fans wired, but there's also a switch that's not working. And there also might be something that's tied to your dishwasher. I'm making it up here. The goal is to try to get them to knock out as many things in one day so they're not coming back 5 times, because you won't remember it. And the next thing you know, somebody's ringing your doorbell, and that has happened to me. Yeah. So when it comes to that, what I have started doing with my schedule in the mornings is I actually put it in there. You know how we will say we have a 2:00 call and you block that off. I don't know how you guys do your calendars, but I actually put it in there. Okay. Elevating You is in my calendar every week, Thursday, during that time frame. Okay. So I know when somebody asks me to do something, I know I can't do that. I've also got it where I pay bills on certain days, so I don't forget to do that. The other thing is, if I have a presentation, which I have one coming up on Monday and Tuesday out of town, I need to block off as well a day to put it together. Okay. So I'm not going to schedule anything, but I'm going to schedule that presentation build. Yes. Okay. And it might be 7 hours, but nobody's going to get me off of that. And I'm going to focus on that so I can get it done. And I might actually build 2 presentations during that time so that I'm not stressed out 3 weeks later when my next one comes. Like, I know I've got one next week and I've got one June 3rd. I'm going to have that done before June ever gets here. So I think it's important to batch it, as you say, but also to schedule yourself a certain way. And emails, we could do an entire show on emails, and maybe we should, because I think there's a lot to be learned in that. There's a great book out called 18 Minutes. All right. Everybody remember that, 18 minutes. And it's really awesome on time management and how to do things. So I know I've talked about the book, The One Thing. And so, you really have to stay on course. Mike, did you want to add anything before I go to yours?
I'm just going to say what I love about the batching piece of it is the sense of accomplishment. That's the other piece of this. There's the discipline to jump in and do it. But as we were talking earlier, as Kraig was saying, at the end of the day, that reflection of, did I get things done? Did I not get things done? And our tendency is to fall back on the things we didn't get done, which puts us not in the best mindset to wrap your day up. But the fact that you can say, I knocked out these 1, 2, 3 things today, instead of doing the little, you move the ball an inch along every day, that doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere. To me, Kraig, when you talk about, and I actually did this about a week and a half ago, where I was putting together a guide, sort of like a catalog of my offerings, and I was doing some rebrand work. I spent 10 hours on that one day, but man, I felt so good. I had other things stacking up, but I felt so good. It's just the idea of taking massive action and digging into something. So when you get the day done, you're like, Okay, this is great.
Yeah.
I made progress.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think too, the one thing too that I think is important, kind of going back to like picking up the pieces and things, is I do in my calendar, I schedule an hour every morning, and it's kind of like my get going time. And that get going time allows me to wrap up things that maybe I didn't finish up yesterday. It gives me a little bit of time to sort of like replan everything else that's going on. You know, it just gives me like a little bit of that breathing room, instead of being like waking up and jumping right into my computer and starting to work, and oh my gosh, how am I going to get all of this done? I've got to finish that up from yesterday, and I've got a call coming. Like it just gives me, sometimes it's a half an hour, sometimes it's an hour, depending on what my schedule is. And if I get everything done, then that just opens up a little bit of free time for me. Like, wait, what do you mean I have time to go get another cup of coffee? Wait, what do you mean I could just go for a little walk for a while? Like, you know, but again, to your point, Kraig, like I schedule it. So that I know that I sort of have like that little bit of time in the morning, that, and for me and my brain, that sort of allows me to start processing everything that needs to get done.
Well, good. Picking up the ideas and batching it. Two things from Jill. And now let's move on and focus on Mike and his two ideas that he wants to put forward into everybody's mind. And notice I've got the gentleman there who is scheduling some alone time for himself. All right.
Is that what he's doing?
That's what I'm insinuating.
That's what. Okay, I'll go with that. So yes, the first one is time for you. I've just found that if I can't be all I need to be for me, how can I be that for others? And I find that, and I'm sure we can all relate to this, that once you get up and you get going, suddenly, you know, it feels like there are people wanting, pulling, needing, you know, our time, our attention, our energy, our talents, whatever that might be. But it's a constant hands-on of pulling and wanting. Well, we've only got so much of us to be able to give in those times of being pulled. So if you don't start your day, and I'll say from my perspective, I'll change the pronoun. If I don't start my day getting centered on me, then I am not going to be able to best serve those in my circle, those in my life. And that's a priority for me. So when I think about, you know, how can I best serve the people in my life? Well, it starts by best serving myself. And that makes it a little less selfish, maybe, to say I need my time, but really it's because I want to be able to show up in a way that will be my best for others. So, you know, for me personally, I meditate every morning. I start my day with a meditation, and that's my quiet time before the noise starts, you know, as Jill was saying, before you get going and everything's coming at you. And I find for me in those times of silence and quiet, because we all need some stillness, you know, and I find in those times I get like, I call them downloads or drop-ins. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, or maybe you have a different name for it. Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But it's in those times where I'll get an answer to a question, or an idea will come up for a solution I've been trying to figure out, you know, but I wouldn't be able to pick up on that if I didn't have this quiet time without the noise around me, you know? And I know I see in here, Anne noted that she starts her day with a Bible study, you know, every morning. So people all have their different ways. Some people make their list of gratitude, you know, of things of how they want to start off, but it's all about starting for you first, so you can then go out and be what you need to be for others.
Yeah, no, that's good. Your second one is prioritize impact.
Yes. So this is a little different, maybe a different, you know, switch for me personally. I know Jill was talking about, you know, she will get up and she wants to knock out the things that weren't done from the day before, which I think is hugely powerful. For me, I sometimes get caught up. I found this in myself, where I would get caught up doing that stuff during the day, answering the emails, doing those little things, feeling like, oh wow, at the end of the day, I've really accomplished something. But at the end of the day, I realized, gosh, I just got a lot of busy work done, you know? So what I try to do is start out the day by saying, what impact do I want to make today? What impact do I have to make today? What project do I have on my long list that is going to be most impactful for my business or the people around me? And I don't know about you, but more often than not, that's the one that I often would be like, oh, that's going to be a lot of work. I think I'll just go back and answer emails, you know? So what I like to do is just prioritize and say, what is that one or two things that I can do today that'll be most impactful?
Good.
Just being
Jill,
intentional.
want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I agree with that completely, and I think, you know, it's interesting how we sort of all have our own interest, or not interest, our own focus on how we sort of look at how we want to manage our day. I think the word that's kind of underneath all of it is clarity. Like, you really have to take a minute and sort of clarify for yourself, you know, where do I want to make that impact, or what am I going to prioritize today, and, you know, where is my attention most needed right now. And that might be a really good starting point, just that, from that place of clarity and seeking clarity to figure out what's going to be most efficient for you, and how you can be most productive.
Yeah, here's what I'd like to see people make comments on. I'd like to see what if you could just put down your one thing that you do in the morning before you really get your day started. That's a part of your routine. Like somebody said, Bible study. Mike says meditation, whatever that might be. I'd love to see what types of answers that we get. That would be very interesting.
So I'm keeping an eye on it right here. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect. So I'll move into the two things for me, and I didn't call it a light bulb. I called it a night bulb, and let me explain that a little bit. I think, you know, we go to bed and there's darkness, and yes, we're supposed to calm our minds and we're supposed to go to sleep. At the same time, I was taught this a while back, and it's been very helpful to me, and that is, I find that I am really a lot better the next day if I spend a few minutes the night before I go to bed, and I actually go to bed with less anxiety. If on my phone, you know, in my little notes, you know, you got that one notes section or notepad, I write down, you know, maybe 1, 2, or 3 things I want to try to accomplish tomorrow. Now, some of those might be small, you know, tasks. I'm going to make it up and say, go get the car washed or run to the bank or whatever. But the other things are, all right, I've got to get this contract out. I've got to do this presentation. I've got to do this. To Jill's point, scheduling phone calls, whatever it is I'm going to do, I try to focus on it the night before. So when I roll into work, if I need a refresher, I can look at my phone to remember what it is. I'm a lot better with lists than I am with no lists. And if I was, you know, dealing with what Jill talked about ADD to a certain point, I'd never feel like I knew where I was going next. And that's when we make mistakes. That's when we make careless, you know, things that can hurt us later. So I think it's important. The light goes off, that bulb goes off at night for me anyway. And Mike, you talked about clarity. I'm able to put those things down. So have a little light go off before you go to darkness, and have it be that idea bulb, that night bulb. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I love this. I love this because, you know, there is like brain science behind that. You know, and the way it typically works is this: when you have things in your mind going, like you said, if you don't write down those thoughts, the ideas, the needs, it doesn't mean because you go to sleep, you're going to stop thinking about it. Your subconscious is still processing, and it creates these open loops where it keeps you, that's when you wake up at 3 a.m. going, oh my gosh, I forgot something. Oh my gosh, how am I going to get this done? Right? When you write it down, you are actually closing the loop for your subconscious in your mind. You are now getting it out of the subconscious, putting it on paper. So it's not worrying relatively about that, so you can actually get that rest that you need to wake up and get after it. But I love that because it's the practical application of the brain science that backs up how our brain just will keep thinking even when we think we're sleeping.
Can you give me the science behind the dream that I had last night of trying to decide between 2 Christmas trees that I was trying to buy, and somebody helping me pick out this one tree and find this one specific tree? I mean, it's May 20th, and I'm worried about the Christmas holiday already. Is there any science behind that?
There is actually, and that would be a whole other show. That's a whole other show.
Okay, well, thanks.
And probably will involve a therapist, you know, and you know,
it's fine. And I'll do a brain dump on Christmas trees. Okay, so my second one is, and this speaks to clarity. What's your big message? All right. So I go back to my role as head of communications for an organization, and I had to think about each day. Not that I'd walk in with a new message every single day, okay, because that would be something that would drive people crazy. You know, Craig's always got something or whatever it might be. But with that, I think it's important to figure out for yourself, all right, what's my message to myself? What am I going to try to accomplish? and what's my message that I want to put out there. So if it's Mike we're talking about, Mike does a lot of things, and I follow Mike on social media, as I'm sure all of you do out there. And Mike, will put out a message for the day, or he puts out some thoughts, or maybe he's got a 3-part series that he's putting together, which might be his message. I try to do the same thing. I think it's important that people know what we're trying to do. Look, I'm not big into tell people what you're going to do. I'd rather just do the work and then let the work speak for itself. Yep. But at the same time, I've got to have my focus. I've got to have my message. I'm already thinking ahead today. I'm doing it's called Zoom Into Books. It's an author thing on Facebook with my publisher. And then all the authors go on and they bring them on, and it's an hour interview that they do with you, and you talk about the book. Well, I can't just wing that at 4:00 today. Okay. So my mind is already like, what do I want people to know about the book? What do I want people to know? And they're very smart in how they are doing this. Just as a little side story, because of my background with golf, because of doing shows with SiriusXM for golf, etc., this week's the PGA Championship. So they're scheduling all of mine during the weeks of major golf tournaments. So they'll ask me about, my career at Golf Channel or LPGA. But I got to have a message, What do I want people? It's not just, yep, I wrote a book. It's here's some of the things that I think are important. I think you guys are very good at that. Jill, I watch your stuff, and each day you're doing something that you're carrying it for common good. So folks, my thing is the night before, think about that light bulb. When you write it down right when it happens. We never remember things the same way the second time. We don't. So writing it down is very important, and getting your day going before you go to sleep. That's one thing that I think about. Number 2, when I wake up in the morning, okay, what's my message? And that would be for the phone calls that I have, for the emails that I need to send, all of those things. I've got to be clear with where I'm going and what I'm wanting to do. That's the stuff that's important to me. And I think it helps you get off to a good start. Any thoughts?
So if I could, we've got a lot. I'm sorry, I've been looking down. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of comments jumping in here. I just want to hit a couple of them here. It's been awesome. So, Ben Cross put in here that he's a prioritizer, but sometimes the C items, right? If you're looking at A, B, or C, it's C being some of the less important. But he said sometimes you need to get done, or it will bug you to death or be a distractor, which I think is completely true. Yep. It gets back to, okay, how long will it take me to get this done? So I can get it off my back and move on. I think we've all got those projects. Paul McClellan, get my extra large donkeys and check my calendar. Okay, it doesn't surprise me, a guy from Boston,
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's see. Lori Smith, she goes out and takes a walk first thing in the morning, right? Get that fresh
that's
air.
Good. And I think Jill mentioned that, or somebody mentioned it earlier. Like, a lot of houses today don't have the mailbox at the door. You've got to go to like a little mailbox area. And for me, it's a nice little walk around the lake down there. And I can kind of break up my day. I know that the mail's usually going to be there by 2:30 or 3. And getting a little fresh air is a really good thing, before you maybe put a wrap on your day.
Well, I agree. And I think for Jill, it was the fact that the mail wagon only showed up once a week, I think, at her place and up in the mountains, a long driveway, snow. I mean, I think that was the case she was talking about when she was waiting for the book.
Yeah.
This is a great one, though. So Fiona wrote in, and I love this. Fiona, thank you so much for the transparency and honesty on this. I love it. And she said here, unfortunately for me, she opens up work emails and gets going. There's normally something daunting that I will read that I know sets the tone for my day. I now realize I'm doing this all wrong. I love it. And Fiona, thank you so much. That is such an awesome comment and also realization. But how often does that happen where the tone of our day gets set by something external, right?
By somebody else.
Crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
No doubt. I'll give you an example. I had one email this morning before 8 a.m. From a company that I'd already done some work for, and we were talking about doing some stuff here soon, some more stuff. And it was, we've all talked about it. At the moment, we got to finish up this project. There's some restructuring going on, but we definitely want to do something in the future. And now, is the future a month? Is it 3 months? Whatever. So, if your mindset is, okay, there's something I'm going to be working on for the next month. No, my mindset is, I'm excited about that. Let's table that for a couple of months. We'll circle back. But that just means I'm on to the next thing. And, some other clients or some other people or whatever. And I can take that off my plate of any thought process that I was going with right now. So anything else, Mike?
Yeah, a couple others. Yeah. Tara McAllister, good morning. She's
morning, Tara.
The better I organize my calendar, the more protective I am of it. Right. And I like that. The idea of protecting time.
Totally. Yeah.
Protect your time, because it's, aside from energy, time is the only other resource we have that is finite, yet so vital. Right. Chris McKee, I think, jumping on what you were saying, Kraig, about having the one thing. He jots down the one thing that he has to get done instead of going to do 100 different things during the day.
Jill. See? Jill.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, if you can say, this is the most important thing I can get done today, and you get that done first, the rest of the day is a joy. To be honest, it's like everything else is gravy at that point. So
Anyway, and I think it's. Okay, I was just going to say, I think it's good to, like, as you make that list, some of it can just be a running list, and when there are certain things, that are the priority, but little things, like my husband does this all the time, like all the things that need to be done around the house, and so we just kind of work on it and cross it off as we have time and can do it, and before you know it, it's all done. And I was laughing, Kraig, when you were talking about like what you do at night. When I was on the train coming back from New York yesterday, like I sent myself an email of like, these are all the things that you need to take a look at on Thursday, and Can advisory is at first. I have another Zoom call at 10:30. I had one early this morning, and I wanted to get all those things out that I was thinking about in the moment. Because to your point, Mike, you're right. Like the second time you remember it, or maybe Kraig, you said this, like the second time you remember it, it's not quite the same.
It'll never be the same.
You have to do something with it. I mean, that's what's so nice about phones, right? You always have it right there. Just send yourself a little note. And if you get in that habit, it's amazing how changing it can be in how you are productive.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to say thank you to all those people that are sending stuff in. It takes me to my radio show last night, and we're taking calls. I take calls. Let's go to New York. I had somebody from New York call in last night, and somebody from a couple of other states, and this is our best way to get feedback from people. So we really appreciate the comments. It steers us and guides us to making this the best show we can possibly make, if we take out the gremlins that cause our internet to go down every now and again. So with that, this is kind of a new thing, Jill, that we're doing, and it's kind of, we'll leave you with this, just kind of a final thought from each and every one of us before we head out, that you guys might want to share if there's any closing things. So Mike, I'm going to let you go first today, my friend, and you give people your walkaway message.
Absolutely. And this one actually was inspired by Fiona's comment. And again, I love that, and can't stress enough how we need to be intentional and take control of how we approach the world around us. Look, there are things that are going to happen in our day that we can't control. We just can't control the email that comes in, or the phone call that comes in, or the frustrated colleague or boss. However, the three things that we can control, and I know this with absolute certainty, is our attitude, our decisions, and our behaviors. That's making the choice to approach the world in your day from the inside out versus the outside in. So you can stay in control as best you can, right, with how you're going to approach the day, your mood, your emotions, and how you're going to show up best for people. So I would just encourage everyone to think about, let's approach it from the inside out.
Jill?
That's great. Well, I think, no matter how overwhelmed you may feel with all of the things that need to be done, whether that's, at work, around your house, in life, whatever, I think the most important thing is to get up and start trying. And, it's easy to sit back and look at all these things that need to be done. And I know for me, sometimes that creates a little bit of anxiety and hesitation, because I don't know where to start. And the key is you just have to start. You have to start somewhere. So whether that's prioritizing, as Kraig was talking about, creating some real clarity and looking at, what is most important. The real message of this is, yes, attitude is so important. Start your day with the right mindset, but just get up and get started. And then start implementing small things, because those small things really can become big things for you in the long run.
Very good. Very good. My final thought is also going to be a little bit of a promotion. Oh, did I say promotion? Yeah, here's a promo for next week, which is actually about succeeding in a promotion, So let's say you get a new title or a new opportunity. What's the first thing you need to do? Or how do you attack that? Or what minefield might you be walking through that you don't know about? We'll talk about that. At some point, everybody's gotten a little bit of a promotion somewhere. The key is, how do you take that promotion and make the best of that promotion in short order? So that's next time. I'll leave everybody with this thought. And today we were talking about a power start and power starting your day. Power is the word that I want to focus on, and that is, who's got it? Do you have it, or are you allowing others to have it for you and take away your focus, your energy, and everything else? I think each one of us has touched on something today that's important, and it's really critical that we wake up and own it for us, and don't get steered away by an email, as was mentioned earlier, where somebody else is gonna take away our energy for the day. You have to find a way to table that. You have to think of how I'm going to prioritize the things that are going to do great for me and for those, as Mike says, in our circle that we're trying to influence. It might be a client, it might be your boss, it might be your coworkers, it might be your team, whatever that might be. Focus on that power, that energy that you can bring, and don't let other people control that. You own it. It's yours. You might have to start the night before to get that clear focus, to figure out what your message is. We've all talked about that stuff, but get up in whether it's meditation or swimming laps in a Speedo, whatever you need to do to get that energy so you can be the best of yourself and the best for others. That's what we're trying to do. So that's my final thought for the day.
Oh man, yet again, trying to wash that image from our minds. Hey, listen, the other thing that we've got to do next week, I was reminded by Chris McKee, he still needs to know how we all met. Remember, he had asked that a while back. And,
I thought we had talked about that, but we can do that again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I was telling people that I was your Uber driver and you two were going to the airport.
Whatever.
And that's how we met. So we'll talk about that next time for sure.
We will. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for the time this morning. I will leave you with one other final thing, which was a very cool thing. Nicole Steed mentioned this, that she missed it last week and missed that we were not there. Looks forward to Thursday mornings, puts it on her calendar, and that we try to deliver something that's beneficial. We know that, but she gains from it and kind of missed the whole thing last week. So those kind of comments mean a lot. Yeah, very cool.
Well, today was amazing. Y'all were fantastic, and clearly this topic was something that people have been thinking about and wrestling with. So as Kraig was saying, why don't you put on your calendar on Thursdays, Elevating You, and join us.
There you go.
Yeah.
And spread the word. Spread the word.
Great.
We really appreciate it. Everybody, have a great one. Take good care, and we'll see you again very soon, as in next Thursday. Take care.
See you
Bye.
next week.